is an important aspect in the life of the indigenous peoples in the Cordillera. It is the forest that provides abundant food. It is where they collect medicines to cure various sickness. It is where they get lumbers to build houses. Fuel wood to cook food. Water for domestic use and irrigation of rice fields. Long time ago, before the Spaniards came to the Philippines, the whole country was covered with rainforests, especially the upland. That includes the Cordillera region. In this rainforest, numerous species of flora and fauna had found their home. During the 1900s, the country's forests had already diminished by 30%, yet Cordillera's rainforests remained intact. Cordillera is a region in the northern part of the Philippines. It is the highest and the largest mountain range in the country. It is inhabited by different ethno-linguistic groups, collectively known as Igorots. These indigenous people living in these mountains regard themselves as caretakers of the land and guardians of the forest. Their innate relationship with nature had enriched their core values, customary laws, and traditions to prevent severe destructions of their bioregion. Every community has its own way of protecting their forest. In Ifugao, they call their system Pinugo or Muyong.
We have a tradition of planting trees. When you cut, you plant 3 or 4 or more. That was the tradition.
The Bantoks and the Aplais of the mountain province also have a forest conservation, which they call Lakon or Tinungo. It is a family-owned woodlot. A clan also maintain a woodlot which they call Tayan.
Pinmintin na lakday toy nga tinungok. Kagapuanan ti danom ken dodo mapay nga kayo no ti tinawen naynayunan pa ti kayo. Daytoy tinungok pangaramidan mi met ti mangaralan mi ti kayo nga maaramid ti balay. Sino ti umay nga kwamet ikak isudang masapulhan nga itaktakaw ti kasdan nga mangala basta ibagada okay. Sino ti aga pupo ti tartalon ditoy wenno ti kaykayo ditoy dati molta. Ti molta na dijay may nga tao nga nagpuo may nga baboy.
Lapat system of preserving, protecting, and conserving the forest is also practiced by the Tingyans of Abra.
Makita win maawatan nga kasayaatan ang luglugar. Nakita lagi aplikar ti lapat system. Pagkuna amin nga aplan ng municipality. Iso te yan nakita lapat. Effective mate nga nasayaat nga ugali da jay ta. Dagiti umilimit lang ti mangusar kadagiti nga ilaplapat da nga agtao ti bakir. At la kumatiratan. Oh, no dapat hinti, no hinti ti why. Iso de jeti pangalaan damit dagiti umili ti pagbuisda dagiti dagdagada.
Despite the existence of indigenous laws and conservation systems, the Cordillera rainforest is terribly in a disastrous state. Mount Data Mountain, which serves as a major watershed, head source, and pathways of 4 big rivers in the region, is already heavily damaged. Along the rugged Halsema Highway to the mountain trail, trees were replaced by a forest of cabbages and other hybrid vegetables. Chemical and pesticides gardening to increase the yield contaminates the air, water, and soil. During dry season, higher portion of the mountains that are cultivated for gardens are deserted due to the lack of water supply. They only cultivate it during rainy season.
Idi kaubing ko dito'y ayan mga bugyas ado ti dadakkel nga kay kayo na awanan dagiti kay kayo dapat ta hinarmda dapat ti ayat da nga maada ti kwarta ta napipintas ti reporyo nangina ti lako idi ti presyo iso nga gimaget amin nga tattao gimasip ti kayo na awan dagiti na imas nga angin dagiti da danom nga magapu jay spring.
Forest is hardly seen in the mountains of Benguet province. In Kibungan alone, trees are replaced with sayote groves.
Pwede kay pwede dan. Nung ilan mo ani isong ani bunga malig tan nang unan bingay sa isong yat dun wan ka agay duye manbui man patpato kay duye siya ka kanan yun siya di.
The abundance of natural resources in the Cordillera has lured several mining operations, building of dams, and logging concessions. The vast forest of the Tingyans in Abra had been logged by Sellafield Company in the 1980s. Tons of pine trees were cut. Affected villages had to stop the operation.
During the operations of Sellafield, most of us people in Abra were apprehensive that the forest will be denuded. So there was a time when we were visiting Malipkong that we passed by certain areas where you thought they would be constructing subdivision roads, but these are actually access roads going to the pine trees. And of course, during the rains, the soil will be going down the river. That would be polluting the river.
I was also there when they floated logs all the way from the mountains to the factory site. And I also saw for myself how the fish were killed. They would, you would go to the rivers and see and see the fish that were dying in the waters, which were gradually becoming muddy.
From mountain province down to the hinterlands of Tinglayan, mountains are bare. In Tulgao alone, forests were turned into uma or swidden farms. Wild pigs and wild deers are already gone.
One-third or more of our forest cover has been destroyed by caingeros, the different communities in my area, in the municipality, has through the indigenous laws, customs and traditions, had already started prohibiting this way of farming.
As far as I can remember, the forest in Tulgao was so very thick, and we have been gathering firewood just 20 minutes from the community. People were so encouraged to practice the slash and burn agriculture just to produce white beans to sell in the market. Not only the white beans that the people were planting, but they also planted tobacco. And so the effect is all the mountains within the community of Tulgao were raped. Our people envisioned to restore the thick forest. So far, we have planted many mountain ranges just near the community in Tulgao. But there are a lot of mountains needed to be planted.
Naka-project kami 160 plus thousand. Unik ti upat nga tawen. Puwera lang dahito yung naibun-bulubun mi.
Almost all parts of the lowland areas of Kalinga is barren.
Ito itsura na ito yung Rizal, idi nalipod, idi. May kayo to.
Rizal.
Burn.
Tigay kayo na purpurok laeng, dagiti dati Rizal, awan palaeng, dagiti katao nagmulmula dan isungad kay kayo. Naku. Ay, ina dati tabigay ka. Kalidaan ijay bulan na kalidaan.
Awan ti kayo?
Awan mo nagitidaan kayo nay. Kaya tanak mo.
In Ifugao, where the eighth wonder of the world is found, most of the wood carvers had gone to other places in search of wood to carve for their crafts.
We encounter confiscation of our handicraft by DD and our personnel. That had been going on for many decades. The goods are confiscated or impounded. Sometimes it is impounded in checkpoint, and the poor wood carvers go home without anything. And so, with that incident, even the Muyong owners do not care to plant anymore, because they said, why do we plant? To be confiscated or to go to jail. Why do we plant? To suffer. Why do we plant? To be harassed. So they stop planting even in their own Muyong. Because the government claims that all the mountain and all what is there belongs to the state. they do not recognize our private pinugo, our muyong.
Mount Polis is being attacked by quarry industry. The mountains are denuded. They make the road more rugged. In central Bontoc, large portion of the nearby mountains has no trees.